My name is Strydom. I am the coverage head for Nelson Mandela Metro, Standard Bank. That's just a little bit on the work side. I look after everything that is blue and Standard Banky. I have 230 staff that I lead with great passion and love. I have a family, a husband and beautiful children. And a little bit about where I come from. I am from the Northern Cape Free State, small town, little bit of farm, real Plaas Macy. And I think I've got all of that really formed me, shaped me into who I believe I've become. I always thought I grew up privileged until I went to university when it was open for the first time to students of color, and I realized my beginnings were extremely humble. And I think the challenges of growing up in pre-democratic South Africa and experiencing myself how I am and bringing that to the table, I think that shaped me. Hardship, trials, those are the things that ultimately forms who we are. And sound values, strong principles. I think those are the things that we always fall back on. And I think that shaped who I've become. So I think a shaky start when it comes to career. When I started in the bank, I never thought it would become a career. It was a job. And I soon realized I was yellow in a very blue world. A creative caught in the midst of analytical people, and I was conflicted. I didn't quite believe that I fitted in. And then I had leaders that crossed my path that made me realize what makes me different is my magic. And they played that to my strength and gave me opportunities to rise. And when I embraced who I was, when I finally made peace with being different, that's really when I started tasting success and realized that this can and will be an epic journey. I wouldn't want to give you the dictionary version of transformation, nor the academic version of what transformation is, or even transformation in the South African sense. I'm going to give you the yellow ivy version of transformation. I think inherent, our desire as human beings is to belong. We all want a place that we can call home. And irrespective of your color, your gender, your sexual or religious orientation, I believe that as a leader, it is my job to find and help you find that magic. And that is my leadership mantra, is to always go for the underdog, the one that's written off. And you don't find the right people, you find the best people. And you help them elevate their magic. And that's what it's about. Okay, so I'm crazy. I'm a disruptor. I don't listen I would take into account the opinions of others to help me inform my decision. But it's not the be-all and end-all for me. Other people's opinions of you don't pay your bills, right? So I always, when I have a group of people, I try and go in without judgment. Because if I think of how many times I was judged incorrectly, I think my greatest aha was, don't judge. Give the person an equal opportunity and make up your mind once you have the fact. And play people to their strength. So from the Ivy Handbook, I let people run free. Let them unleash their crazy. When they make mistakes and they fall, they learn. And that's how I manage my team. A lot of laughter, a lot of crazy, a lot of heart. I do believe that you can't lead people if you don't know their story. I have to know why you show up the way you show up. And that enables me to lead you and really believe in you. It is when people believe in us that we truly shine. So Mentorship allows me to bring my crazy. Unedited, it's just you and the person that you're mentoring. It's just you and your mentee. I bring in my own vulnerability, and I create a platform for that person to make themselves vulnerable. My last mentee, a fantastic young man, came in completely a misfit, or so he thought, and he met my crazy. And when he left, he bought me a book, DISRUPTOR, and in it he inscribed, "Thank you for being you, and for being unapologetic, to be brave and just authentic." And I think that is what mentorship is about. You don't walk in there being any different to who you are outside of the mentorship. You walk in there with the opportunity to learn from your mentee and to help them shape and steer them towards what it is that they truly were meant to be. So I'm going to speak from my own experience. I always say one can only tell your own story. And if I have to tell my story about my journey in leadership, it's been a constant challenge to not lose my authentic self, my femininity. We always think that when we reach a certain level of leadership, senior, and I have aspirations of one day being an exec, or even going into politics. I want to run for president. So I think it's a struggle, a continuous struggle, and a very fine line between showing up female, feminine, vulnerable, especially in the boardroom. You have to shout so much louder to have your opinion heard. But I've learned early on that I will not adjust. I will not adopt a male voice. I will stick to my beautiful female self. And if you can't deal with that, if you're not brave enough, then you don't belong at my table. And that really is, I think, the greatest struggle for us, is that we walk in and we think we need to become something else, be something else. And we shouldn't, because if we do that, we fail the generations that will follow in our footsteps.